Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at the offset entity command. Okay, offset entity is here on the wireframe ribbon bar, and I find it to be a incredibly useful command. There are two types. There's offset entity and offset chains, and this video is going to look at offset entity. I find that it really helps to draw. It's a big help in drawing 2D geometry accurately. Okay, so let's take a look at it. If I click on that entity, this is the dialog. Okay, so you have under method, you have copy, move, join, and slot. Okay, and these just give you different methods, and we're mainly going to look at copy and move. As the instructions show, copy transforms a copy, move just moves the entity, join transforms a copy of the selected entities to a new position and maintains the position of the original entities. Okay, so it kind of joins it, right? Copy, move, join. And then slot transforms a copy of the selected entities to a new positions in the graphics window to create a slot. It maintains the position of the original entities, which is very neat. Okay. So that's the method. Number of instances, 1, 2, 3, 4. The distance from the original entity selected, and then you can adjust the direction. If you click on advanced, you can change the attributes as well. If not, they're going to be the default attributes as defined here, as we discussed about in the past. So let's go back to basic. Okay. Well, this is something that you're going to use to modify geometry. The other commands we went over, lines, rectangle, circle, and there are others, create geometry. And then trim modifies geometry, and offset modifies geometry and creates geometry. So it kind of does both. It's very, very useful. Well, let's go back to old reliable and let's create a rectangle. And we're going to click here, and let's make that rectangle 5 by 5. Okay, and then we want to hold down the Alt key and press F1, F2 to make it fit, and let's keep it. Okay, so let's take a look at offset entity. We click on entity. Okay, and notice it's prompting me select line, arc, or spline. I'm going to select this line. Okay. It is now indicate the offset. It's now asking me for the offset direction, so click on which side you want it to offset. Okay, at this point it is a copy. And the coloring scheme that Mastercam uses is red and then purple. Okay, red representing the original entity, purple meaning the entity that was modified. And let's try the different methods. Let's try move. Let's try join. Let's try slot. Okay, so you can kind of see how it works. This is very useful. How many copies? Well, let's make that 2. Let's make the distance 0.5. Okay. We can put it on one side, we can go the opposite side from what we picked, or we could put it on both sides. And any change we make here impacts both sides. Very, very useful command. Okay, let's try it out on a actual drawing problem to see how useful it would be. So we're going to take a look at, and this is in the notes, this is drawing practice 6. This is in the creating 2D geometry part 2 notes that you can download from Springboard. And this is drawing practice 6. Okay, so what we have is we have a part that is 3.3 by 1.8, and then we have these offset, these legs. And we're going to use the offset command. This is not the only way to create it, but that's what we're going to do to demonstrate the power of the offset command. Okay, Let's start a new drawing or clear the drawing. So we're going to go File, New, and no, we don't want to save. All right. So I look at my drawing, and I see the PRZ is here. It's 3.3 by 1.8. So I'm going to do just like we're going to do in manufacturing. I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to set that as my origin, drag away, and set this at 3.3 and 1.8. Create my rectangle and accept it. Alt F1, Alt F2. All right. Next, I'm going to start offsetting some lines. Well, if I look at my drawing, I see that this is offset 0.5, and this line is offset 0.2, and then this line is offset 0.5. Okay, so let's try it. So let us take the offset command, offset entity, and we're going to take this and offset it in this direction, and our distance is 0.5. Okay. Now, just like all the other commands we've done, we want to apply that, because if not, we add more offsets, it's going, or we change the distance, it's going to affect that. So we apply that. Now we're going to offset again, select it, and take this, we're going to offset it this way, and we're going to make it 2. Okay, and we're going to accept that, but stay in the command, and then I want to do a 0.5 offset, so I select this, I come this way. Well, notice it's going to stick with the 2 until I put in 0.5. That takes care of the vertical lines. Now I've got 2 offsets in the horizontal direction. I have a 0.75 here, and I have a 0.5 here. So I apply it. I change this, well, this is 0.5, and I can live with that, 0.5. The other distance is 0.75. I have to apply it, and then I click on this, come here, it's over that, but I got to change the distance, 0.75. And then I can accept it. Now, it's just a matter of trimming. So I come to trim break, and I want to use 2 entities. In some cases, I want to divide. I want to divide this. Here, I want to use 2 entities. Here, I want to use 2 entities. And here, I want to use 2 entities. And then I have some excess material there, but I can just trim it. And we are done. And that's really all there is to it. Okay, let's do one more. You can save that or if you like or not. I'm not going to. I'm going to go to File. Oh, I could just go here, right? To the QAT. New. Nope. Don't save it. Okay, look at the next example problem. So let's do this problem. Okay, so we're going to start with a rectangle, or PRZ's down here. Our origins here. We're going to start with a rectangle 6.5 by 4. And then we're going to offset lines to create this. So let's go back to Mastercam. Let's start with a rectangle. Start here, 6.5, tab by 4. Accept it, Alt F1, Alt F2. Okay, and you kind of have to look at the way it's dimensioned. And one thing you need to recognize is that this corner lines up here, so that's offset of 1, and then this is 1. So let's do our horizontal lines first. We're going to come down 1, 1. So I go back to Mastercam. I go to the offset entity command, and I pick an entity, and I change that distance to 1. I apply it, and I could actually say 2, right? Because 1 and 1. I apply that. Next, I'm going to use, well, I'm going to use the offset to get this. Now I need this point, this point, this line, this line, this line, and this line. Okay, so I've got several offsets to make. So I pick a line. It's on this side. I change this back to 1, and I change this to 1.5. Apply. Pick this that way, change that to 1.8. Apply. 1.5, 1.8, now 2.8. And you can change the number ahead of time, and then select your entity. Apply. (3.8), 2.8 plus 1.8, 3.8. Apply. And 4.8. Okay, now we could keep going, but instead of getting too confused, let's go in and start trimming some stuff up. So, oh, we have to create some lines first. We are going from here to the 1.8, and then we are going from here to there. Okay, let's do some trimming to clean things up a little bit. And we're going to use 2 point. Gives us the general shape. We're going to go divide. Alright, we're going to go 2 point. Okay, now I don't have an ending point for this, so I need to go back to offset. And the width of that slot is 3.5. So I'm going to change this to 3.5. And I've got that. I'm going to go back to trim. Oops, I did not apply it. Accept, trim. Oop, 2 entities. And everything else is just extra. So then I can delete, and then I just need to trim these 2 points. And accept. Okay, and that concludes this video on the offset entity. Very useful command.